Okay, hello TeamDeeno. I am so excited to bring to you my absolute best friend, Alessandro Del Vecchio. How are you?
I'm here. Ciao, TeamDeeno. Ciao, everybody. Very glad to be here. Thank you, Kurt, for inviting me. I think it's you don't invite lots of people to do something like that for Dino, but I'm very happy to do it.
Well, you have, and you've only really known him for about 5 years or so, right? Going back to
Uh,
when you first
yeah,
started doing Red
six
Saints.
years. 6 years, yes.
Yeah. So, in that amount of time, you guys have really put together a heck of a lot of phenomenal music. When you go back to the Red Saints 1,
Yeah.
and the Restless Spirits was another one, Rev Saints 2, Gio Novo, and Rev Saints 3, Rise.
Yeah, and Dean also plays on the Gioeli solo record on one voice, on one
Yeah,
song. So yeah, we did a lot together, and I'm very glad to be part of Dean's legacy. I mean, we almost lost him, and I'm very glad that I was there. I mean, we were pushing Dean to come back to music, and I think for a guy like him in love with music, music saved him. So I'm very happy to be part of his legacy. It's very
absolutely.
important for me. Yeah.
But he did what he had to do in 15 and 16. He took
Yeah.
the time off. He did what he had to do as far as introspection and get reorganized with
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
his priorities. And now we're all the better for it. So, you know,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and it's Dean. I mean, what a world would be without Dean, without such a great talent, drummer, singer, and such a great spirit in a band and to work with.
absolutely. And you've talked about in different interviews how he shows up in the studio and hears something and bam, he lays it down and he's
Yeah,
done. Just
yeah,
and I was in Milan with you guys last year. A year ago at this time, we were at
yeah,
Frontiers Festival.
yeah,
Phenomenal, absolutely. What a weekend! I mean, the acoustic set Friday night, with you guys in Hardline closing it out with Dean. The next night was just incredible, which was my first Hardline show.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and I joke with Johnny because Johnny only lives 20 minutes from me.
I
And
know.
I said, I've got to fly 4,000 miles to go see you play. And just an incredible weekend. But, and the next week was when Rise was written and recorded, or most
Yeah,
of it, in
yeah,
Milano.
yeah.
And I know he was done. I was flying out on Tuesday, and he said, dude, I'm almost done. And
Yeah, we started on like Monday, and actually on Saturday, I was flying to Germany to start the tour with Hardline. Because let's say the Frontiers Fest was the spin off gig for the tour for us. So, first
yep,
gig of the tour. Then I had Revolution Saints, but just I only had 5 days, and Dean knocked down all the drums and all the vocals by Thursday night. So we on Friday we just went through the songs and boom, it was done. But it's Dean, amazing professional. When he hears something and he understands what the song needs. It's not that he has to learn the song. He can capture the essence of a song like right away. I mean, there's a reason why Dean is Dean. He was known to be, recording for Marty Friedman,
mhm,
going in the studio and do records with such a very difficult set of songs, plus the intricate drum parts in just an afternoon and few hours. I mean, it's Dean. But one thing is to read it in the interviews and get the praises from some musicians and go like, well, there's nobody like Dean. He just comes to the studio, here's the song, and the song is done. And one thing is to experience uh, that thing in the studio. And I've seen and I've worked with some of the best musicians in the world. And so to get that big impact of me, it means that it's like something really special. I never heard, honestly, no disrespect to all the other musicians I worked with, but rarely I've seen such a musical drummer, because it just doesn't play the drums, it dances with the drums. It's got a great dynamic, and the flow, the waves of dynamics that it creates it's just, just amazing and unique.
Yeah, and I was blessed the end of last year to see Journey play a couple of times out in Las Vegas, and
Yeah,
Deen is still the longest serving drummer in that band,
yeah,
but you watch a Steve Smith, and he's so effortless, and he's light on the sticks, and it's incredible, and then you watch Dino just playing animal, if you will, and
yeah,
what comes out is just incredible. And then to be able to sing like he does is, while he's playing those
yeah.
very intricate parts,
Yeah,
it's
I mean, I
incredible.
remember the first time, because I didn't know that Deen could sing back in the 90s. And as a Journey fan, I went to see them the first time they played in Italy, I think 2010 or somewhere around that time. I think it was the first tour with Arnell, I guess. And I saw them, and Deen sang Mother, Father, like fourth or fifth song in the set, and I was obviously it's Journey. First time you see them, you're like, wow. And then, I mean, out of the blue, it's Arnell is not on stage anymore, and Deen sings Mother, Father, and I was like, what? What is this? And I was so impressed. And I remember when Frontiers approached me and said, well, we would like to do a Deen solo record or something with Deen. Would you like to write for him? And I was like, yes. Because, I mean, I was so impressed, and I knew that I could, capture that thing, because Deen has a very special spot in his voice that's like, you go like, wow. And I wanted to capture that, because I wanted to translate that emotion that I had when he was singing Mother, Father to the world. Because, I mean, if you talk about Mother, Father, everybody thinks about the original,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine, but not many Journey fans are aware that there was a period in time when Journey were playing that song, and
Yes.
Deen was singing it, but like phenomenally, like incredibly good. And so my aim to work with Deen was like, I want to show, because everybody knows Deen as a drummer. That's
Mm-hmm.
very, everybody's like, it's Deen. But I really wanted to go out with the band vocally. And I really worked him hard on the first Revolution Saints, because I really wanted to get that thing and that tone, and to be everything be super clear and amazing. But it's Deen. And then you learn to be a singer, and I mean, the first record was like maybe a little extra work, because we needed to create the Deen singer. He was like, Ale, I'm not a singer, I'm just
Yeah.
singing. And I was like, well, you're more than a singer. We just have to channel your abilities to the right spots, and don't oversing. And but then the second and third record, the third record was like, oh my, so fast, so natural, so good. But it's Deen. I'm impressed, but I'm not impressed, because Deen.
How do you, so you look at Light in the Dark, and coming out of what he went through, because that was the first Rev Saints after what he went through in
Yeah.
15. So how did you capture what he was going through between his head in the lyrics that came out? I mean, all of those, every single one of those songs has a message to it, and it's really, it's like it was cathartic for him, and the lyrics that you guys put together was about his journey, pardon the pun, but his
Yeah.
journey after that.
Yes.
I mean, how did you capture that?
Well, I never wanted to be a writer that writes the same for everyone. I always want to make sure that whoever is going to be the singer, it has to sound authentic. And going back and forth with Deen, I was like, well, Deen, I want to write for you. I want this record to be your phoenix, your moment of rebirth, your renaissance. And I wanted to capture that. And I always try to write something that's positive, uplifting, inspiring, and I mean really into it. But at that time, I kind of I was so close with Deen that I could feel and I could put myself into his situation. And because there's we're very different characters, and we have a different story, but in the essence, I mean, Deen is one of the biggest hearts I've ever met in my life.
Absolutely.
He's got a big heart. If he has $10, you're gonna get 15. He doesn't care about himself. He's for I mean, he has a very sometimes very rare sense of giving. And it was simple for me because I just translated myself into his situation. But I didn't want it to be dark. I wanted it to be like inspiring. And I knew that Deen was also doing services for people and speeches and motivational speeches about that, about you can make any mistake, and until you're alive, in a sort of way, God is giving you the chance to repair what you've done. And sometimes the bigger the repair, the longest the path, the stronger you get. Because I mean, my life philosophy is that you have to go through things in order to say you lived. And I was like, Deen, I mean, both Doug and I and Jack and the guys in the label, we were like, Deen, we're not gonna surrender on you. I mean, if you made a mistake, it's it can happen. It shouldn't happen, but honestly, can we really judge somebody else? No.
We're all human.
Because we all are work in progress, and sometimes demons can let you do things you would never do. And I remember there were people going like, I don't know, I mean, Deen will never come out of that, and blah blah blah, such a bad press, whatever. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna write songs for him. When he's ready, I'm gonna be ready even more with songs that can really be true to him. And honestly, I mean, if I talking about a recording, Light in the Dark has been one of my best experiences ever, because I could have the whole band together. We were in Italy and everybody was out of distractions. It was a very organic process. We wrote, most of the record was like done in the room together. We were going back and forth with ideas. And Deen was amazing. I mean, he came and it was so chill. I mean, for being Deen,
yep,
he's always hype. He's always happy. He was always, but then he came. He was very chill, very focused, and he knew that shot was worth, because it had to be worth, because it had to show the people that he was back, yep, and ready and cool. And if we how many musicians ended up so bad because people didn't give them a second chance. I mean, if you think what happened to George Michael, all these people were left alone. I mean, it's very easy to be somebody's friend when they're famous, they're cool, everybody loves them. but it's very easy and natural for me because I'm not a judging person, but it takes, you got to detach from the reality and detach from what people say and be true to yourself to be a friend of somebody that needs help.
Yeah.
But it should be so easy. I mean, to me, it was very natural. And I said, well, Deen, if you can come and do the record, we're going to make an outstanding record. We're going to be proud of it. You're going to be proud of it, and we'll show the world how cool you are.
When you're ready.
Yeah.
Right.
Ben came and he was ready, and we did the show, and
That show was incredible, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it was very, it was a band out of the studio. It was rough. It was real. It was something that I think Deen also needed, because I remember when he came on stage, people gave him so much love. And, we live in a world where we judge all the time. We comment, we judge, and we're always heavy. We're always heavy. We're never like supporting each other. We're always like, I don't like that. You don't look good. That song is shit. You always go very, we're very selectively heavy on our comments and judgments. But that night, music did the talking, did everything.
The smile on his face. I had goosebumps, Alec. I was in the balcony across from the stage purposely because I didn't want any obstruction. And when you guys hit the stage, and after the first song, when he came out front, and he was like, "Oh gosh, I'm not a front man," but he was so genuine, and it was phenomenal. It was. I have goosebumps right now thinking about it. Right?
I gotta say, me too. Yeah.
And I walked into, my daughter and I walked into the Devereaux Hotel the Friday morning when we got there, and he was in the lobby, and he came up to me and gave me one of the Deeno hugs, and he's like, "Brother, I can't believe you actually came." And I said, "Deeno, 6 months ago, when you called me, or 3 months ago, whatever it was, you said, we got a gig. And I'm like, where? That's great. Where and when? I'm thinking Salem, Portland, LA. And he said, Milan. I'm like, Milan. And I said, all right, I'm there. And, I wouldn't have missed it. I mean, the night before, nice little acoustic set was incredible. And, I made the whole trip just for that, just to see Revolution Saints. And it's still the only 2 times that Revolution Saints has played together. The acoustic set and then Saturday.
Yeah. And I mean, I wish we could do more, because I mean, just right now I'm like watching myself from the outside. And obviously when you're in the run, you don't realize what you're doing. But from the outside, I'm like, oh, wow. I mean, then for 2 nights, I was on stage making the music we wrote together, that I wrote for them, and the hits that I grew up on. Because, I mean, we did Come Again. We did, we did High Enough.
Yes.
High Enough, we did. I mean, it's, it's incredible. And, but, that's what music is worth. I mean, music is the glue of life,
it's the unifier.
And that's why I fought for Deen, because I was like, Deen, you need to be out there. I don't care if people are gonna bash you. I don't care. You shouldn't care too. It's gonna be tough, but I don't care. And and people will always go back there. We'll always go back to the low moment, because misery loves company. I mean, people, you're miserable, you try to bash people down, but what we would have missed. I mean, I don't want to change a thing.
No,
I wouldn't change a thing. We would have missed Light in the Dark. We would have missed so many great songs from him. And it's.
And that's I took my boys to see a Journey show back probably I don't know 2000, something like that. They were young, and met Deen for the first time, and we've been friends ever since. And we did a meet and greet, and you know they this back in the day they had all this food lined up, and my boys were like 7 and 9, and they walked into the room and there's all this food, and they're like, Dad, can we have some? And so, yeah, go ahead. And then the guys came in and they're like, Dad, does this happen at every show? And I'm like, no, you know, not really. But you know, there were so many people in 2015 that just wrote him off and said, you know, he's washed up. And then there were some of us that stuck by him, and,
Yeah,
you know, and
sure.
I got in touch and I said, dude, do what you need to do, whatever you need, pick up the phone. I'll be there in a heartbeat. You know, and there were some of us that did that, and others that said, see you later. And we're all the better for it. I mean, it's absolutely incredible, the stuff that's happened in the last 4 years. And, you know, I was blessed to go see the original Journey Through Time. And to see Neil with a smile on his face. I mean, if you look at those videos, that first show and the videos that Neil's posted, the way these guys were hitting it, they were just jamming and having fun. And as a fan, there's nothing better than that. I just sat back and enjoyed it. And all those old Journey songs were just incredible. So, you know, one of the cool things is, you know, one of the other projects that you're involved with is Hardline. And, you know, the album that you guys just dropped was just freaking amazing. And, you know, it just, folks have loved it. And the live album, you know, it captured the whole thing. I mean, it brings me every time. It's in my car right now. So whenever I get in the car, I just play it. And it just brings me back to a year ago, and the energy, you know, Johnny's just freaking amazing. That voice. And
Johnny's John. There's only one Johnny Gioeli in the world. Yeah.
And you know, so I got a text from him last night, and he started a GoFundMe.
I shared it yesterday because I saw you share it. So
I did.
I saw it because of you.
Yep. And you know, funny story. We did our friends that are in Bon Journey, the Journey and Bon Jovi tribute band in New York, did a benefit for, I think it was, who did they do it for? Make-A-Wish in March 6th. And I got in touch with Johnny and I said, hey, would you do me a favor and just autograph a couple of things that they can raffle off at this thing?
Yeah.
And he's like, sure, bro, no problem. And we're getting like 2 weeks beforehand. And I was like, hey, did you forget? And he's like, no. Oh, crap, I forgot. And I said to him, how about if we, let's have breakfast and I'll bring you a couple of Hardline CDs. Can you autograph that for me? And we walked into our diner. He walks in and he's greeting everybody as he's walking over to the table I was sitting at. Like, he was from town and knew everybody. He's like, hey, how are you? Nice to... Well, we just sat there for 2 hours. And if he'd have done that in Germany or in Italy, he would have been mobbed. But in my town, nobody knew who Johnny Gioeli was. And just an amazing guy. And the heart that he's got, the fundraiser, One Voice, was a fundraiser for a kid in his town that is a quadriplegic. I mean, so, you know, when you guys did Gio Novo, how in the world did you have the guys focus? Because one's telling jokes and the other one's laughing and the other, how did you pull that thing off?
It was tough, but I had to be, and I hate to be, I really don't like to be, the old grumpy, producer going like, well, guys, we should focus, we should do that. But you have to, I was going like, and I was like, okay, guys, now you stop because we got to work. And, after kindergarten, after 2 minutes, they were like, you could see them. And, and Johnny is normally like that.
Yes.
But when he is with Deen, it happens with two people, Deen and Mike Torana. it must be a drummer thing that happens. When he's with those two guys, you don't stop Johnny. It gets crazy. But it was, I mean, I really like, I like much better a record like that with happiness,
Yes,
joy, and it's playful. It's not work. It's not serious.
well, and
Then,
through what an amazing song.
Thank you. Thank you.
And it captured the whole essence.
Yeah. I mean, it's another one of those songs that I wrote for Deen. I mean, it's I the video with the phone call. It's truly what I envisioned for the song. I imagined, because the Castronovo record, the Gioeli Castronovo record came up because basically in an interview somebody was bashing Deen, and Johnny was like, no, you don't know the Deen. You cannot judge, you cannot say anything about Deen because you don't know the person.
Yep.
And I know the person, and I know that Deen is not like that. And somebody told Deen, so in a sort of way, we ended up talking all together, and the label wanted Deen to do another record, and Johnny came up with I don't remember how it was a twist of events. In after 4 or 5 emails, we had the project together.
Wow.
And the first song I wrote was Through, because I was like, okay, these guys didn't meet for 20 years. I am where I am in the industry because of Hardline, because Hardline has been my break into the industry, and they were Hardline, and Double Eclipse is one of my favorite records. So the constellations that really matched in that moment were like incredible. I mean, it's not even in my deepest dreams I would have ever imagined to do something like that. So I was like, okay, let's put up this story. So where are we starting from? Okay, Deen went through this period, and Johnny did that, and I did that. Let's put it all together. So the song is like, hey, hello, Johnny. It's been such a long time. It's great to be back together, making music, making what we love. So the song, it's, just simply a phone call put into lyrics, into poetry, into music.
And the two of them singing back and forth is just magical.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
So, a couple of the guys that you're playing with now in Hardline and also on Edge and Forever, Marco De Salvia, when you talk about an incredible drummer, and Mario is one of the best guitarists. I mean,
yeah, true.
I sat there watching him last year, and, just magical. I mean, some players, it's mechanical, and you can feel it coming out of his soul into the strings.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, Mario is a very unique player in especially in Italy. I don't know anybody that plays like him, because we grew up, he grew up with listening to music that wasn't popular. I mean, if you think about Journey in America, I pick up my car, I drive in America, and Journey's on the radio. In Europe, never happened. In Italy, not even close.
Yep.
So we grew up with music for misfits. I mean, Journey, Hardline, Bad English, it was for misfits, for losers. I remember people going like, why do you listen to Whitesnake? That's music for girls. And, so we grew up through the odds of listening and playing music that was totally unpopular. And Mario, I don't know how, but he has this American melodic bluesy thing that comes because he listened to music that wasn't everybody else's plate. He created a unique blend of blues players and melodic players. And I remember, and I could swear on that. When we decided to revamp Hardline back in 2011, Mario was the name that I had in mind. But, Johnny's a family guy. He needs to know who gets in the band. So the step was, okay, I'm going to bring Mario on the Gionovo record because that's me decided to play is on that record. And I told Johnny, I said, keep an eye on the guitar parts, because if you ever need someone that's close to Neil, Mario has that thing.
He does. He actually does.
But still, it sounds like himself, but it's got that Neil wailing unique thing, that outer space jam thing. And I remember I played him the first solos, and he was like, what? That's this guitarist. I was like, Johnny, I told you. Yeah. This guy is like phenomenal. And then we had our problems and the lineup changes, and Mario happens to be also an amazing songwriter too. So when it was time for us to change in Hardline, it was obvious to me and Johnny that we needed somebody like Mario, because it's got that sound. He's an amazing songwriter. He can sing, and he's got a heart of gold, awesome. which in a band environment is vital. And same thing for Marco. When we needed a change, Marco, I remember when we did the Gioeli solo record, I was like, oh, Johnny, I have the drummer. You're going to fall in love with him. Just trust me on this drummer. I know it's your solo record. You probably, would like to use a drummer, but I think this guy needs a chance. And he's a phenomenal drummer, and you're going to love him. And that's how it worked. So basically, out of the Gioeli solo record and the Gionovo record, we came up with, winning two of the key members that we have nowadays.
And one of the things that I keep talking about with people is I met every time I go to Las Vegas, I go to see Raiding the Rock Vault. Phenomenal show, and the players that are there, that's where I met Doug for the first time. Right after Rev Saints came out, when Deen was still in Betty Ford, so, and I met Michael T. Ross there. And so the last time I was there, I said, I'd been talking to Johnny, and Johnny said, when you see Michael, give him a hug for me. So I went up to Michael and I said, bro, don't think this is weird, but Johnny told me to give you a hug. And he's like, okay, that's cool. But there is like a 6 or 7 degrees of separation amongst a lot of you guys that have played in different bands and things together. So it's really a small circle that, there's a bunch of players that have done this project. And, you did something, you worked with Glenn Hughes at one point, right?
Yeah.
And Ian Pace.
And now Glenn is with Deen and Doug.
Yeah. And you work with Ian Pace too, right?
Yeah.
So, all these little pieces, and it's, the cool ones are still around, and the clean ones, and you've got your lifestyle, and your vegan lifestyle and stuff. I like my meat. I'm sorry, but
yeah, but it's my choice. So
yes, it is. But it's a small world, and there's a lot of you guys that have played together in a lot of different things over the years.
Yeah, but that tells there's a very good side of it, which is if you are capable, or better, to be capable to play, it's mandatory. It's not an optional. But there are lots of optionals that sometimes are forgotten in the equation, like being a good person, be somebody that people can trust on, and be professional, be clean, don't make a mess, be cool to be around. When you're capable and you're professional, and all those other little factors come together, in my opinion, it's impossible not to make it happen. If you're good, obviously you got to be good, because I mean, when I started to be a pro, I always aimed to play with these guys. So I knew that I had to be better than other guys in LA, because I was coming from Italy and I was like knocking on their doors. I mean, who the hell are you? I mean, this guy from Italy, who are you? So
Yeah.
I knew that I had to make it, I mean, improve better than anybody else, because I was coming from a very different ground. And, but I always, at that time, you didn't have internet. You didn't have all the biographies or the books that you could read and study. But I never drank, I never smoked, never did drugs. And I always it's my pride to be like that. And I always thought, well, for sure, I'm gonna create a problem less in the bands.
Yep.
And so I always, try to be the right person and the right human being for the situation. Then obviously, I mean, you can be good or amazingly good, but to see a circle of people that work so hard and so in a continuous way, I mean, that doesn't come just because you're good. You have to be exceptional, but you have to be an exceptional human being too. I mean, if you talk about, I mean, you name Doug, Michael T. Ross, these are all guys that are super humble, first of
Yes.
all.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you talk to Doug, he's always like, yeah, thank you, but, he appreciates the compliments, but it's not about himself.
See that?
Oh, see that.
That's a Doug Aldrich pick.
It's good to see a small circle that's more like it's like a fight club. We know the rules. We're not in the 70s and the 80s anymore. I mean, the dysfunctional musicians don't. I mean, you don't want to. If you're hiring someone, you're hiring a plumber. You don't want a mess in your house.
No.
You want the pumps to be fixed. You don't want water in your bathroom anymore. Pay and done.
Yep.
And when you go to sleep, you don't have to worry about the plumber. It's the same thing for music. I mean, we're hired by somebody else and we don't want to make a mess. And that's how it should be. We're not special. We're not different. We make great things and music is amazing, but we're still hire people that we got to work. And we're also not hired by, the musician you're working with, but also by the fans. I mean, once the fans pay a ticket, they're basically buying our services.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do good, make a mess, people will be happy.
Well, you, my friend, have brought a lot of fame, a lot of joy to me and to a lot of other people with what you've written. I love watching you on stage, and I look forward to it again. I was looking to go to some of the Hardline shows this summer. So I don't know what's going on once we get into August, September, whatever. But certainly Johnny and I, when we talked 2 months ago, month and a half ago, when we were having breakfast, I said I was going to my office over in Romania in July, at the end of July, to see the Daisies play in Bucharest. And he said, dude, as soon as you're done with that, why don't you come up to Norway? We're playing in Norway on August 1st. And I'm like, I'm there. We'll see what happens. But
I don't know what's gonna happen, and I guess nobody knows yet. It's too early, and hopefully very soon. But we'll catch up on the road for sure. Sure.
Absolutely. And in the meantime, my Apple iTunes is filled with your work. And
Awesome.
I was talking to somebody the other day. I was out in the yard and I put on Revolution Saints and Shuffle, and it played for 2.5 hours or whatever it was. I mean, it was just incredible. You do incredible work, and I appreciate what you do.
I appreciate you supporting me more for sure, because to me it's I'm not that kind of musician. I'm not a great marketing guy at all. I just want to do something, and you guys take it if you like it. I don't want to force anybody to like it. I just want to make my best so that you can have songs for your soundtrack, and I can keep on doing what I love and go to sleep with a very light heart. I want to, knowing that my songs make you feel better, bring you joy. It's, all the
I'm
rest is, it's
I've got
optional.
I've got your lyrics on around my neck all the time. You know, million miles. Challenge your fate and always give your best.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and honestly, how cool is that from an Italian guy to write lyrics in English and be able to, to transcend all the differences. I mean, that's the magic of music.
It is. It's
All the, it's such a universal language, and it's, I'm there with you. I'm there in your backyard, and I got, all the music that I listen to here with me, and that's the power of music, and
it
the
is. And
magic of music.
the cool thing for me and as far as doing TeamDeeno, is that and the Journey Junkies that I do as well. I've met people, part of it is from Frontiers Festival and the couple years that I've been there, but met people from all over the world. When we did the Journey Through Time, our friend Mika flew in from Japan, doesn't speak any English. And, we introduced her to Deen, and she was crying. And,
I remember, I saw the pictures. Yeah.
it was, but I've got friends all over the world because of music. And in this day and age with the virus and everything else, music transcends and it heals, and it brings us all together, and that's the beautiful thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's I was telling my girlfriend the other night, we live in a very artistic family. She's a songwriter, a singer. And we're always in the music bubble, and sometimes we don't realize because we're inside our world. But then I was searching for a YouTube video. I don't remember. I think about gardening, about something totally different, and a video of Lee Sklar, bass player of Phil Collins, showed up, and he was like home playing bass, playing one of the Phil Collins's tunes that he recorded and played on tour with. And and I looked at her and I said, musicians are amazing, because everything else stopped. I mean, restaurants, everything else stopped, and they had to change what they were doing. Like, how can you create the same thing if you're cooking online? I love my chef friends. I love them, but it's you cannot smell, you cannot taste what they're doing. But music, you just, in this day and age, you just need an iPhone, a phone with a camera, and you just play from your sofa, and you're freaking Lee Sklar. I mean, one of the best players in the world, super chill, playing the bass. How cool is that for musicians? We couldn't stop ourselves from playing, and we found ways. And I never seen and I'm a musician, so my timeline on Facebook and Instagram is 99% music, but I've never seen so much music around like nowadays. And it's tough. We cannot sell records anymore. We're only left with the YouTube views and Spotify streamings. That's all it's left. We don't have concerts. We don't have anything else anymore. But still, we couldn't help it. We had to play, and to see this great stream of music, constant, amazing stream of music. It's amazing. I mean, it tells the real power of music and how music is everything. I mean,
It is.
it's the fundamental art of all, because
It is.
it doesn't have a language.
Mm-mm.
It doesn't need you to be sophisticated to
There's no politics.
yeah, no politics. I mean, a good song just just gives you something that's unique. There's nothing like that. And you can love a Chinese song that maybe it's got the cheesiest lyrics ever, but still it's the companion of your moments, and it becomes your soundtrack. And it's amazing to see that from musicians. That, I mean, we couldn't stop it. Let's play music. Let's still play music like nothing happened. Maybe it's because we're dreamers, but to see that and to see all these amazing musicians that you would never see do anything like that, like Brian May playing on his sofa,
That was amazing.
challenging people to play Queen songs with him. How cool is that? How
Yes.
cool is to see, I mean, all this, it brings music. It takes away the money in the equation, which is the part that I hate. It takes away the business. It takes away how famous you are or how unknown you are, and it brings everything together.
And Kip Winger did that the other day too.
Yeah. How cool is that?
It's what it's all about, Ali. So
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I don't want to take any more of your time. I absolutely appreciate you.
I told you that I could talk. I know that I talk.
That's perfect, because you know what? Our TeamDeeno wants to get to know you a little bit more. So, you're
That's awesome.
You're the glue that brings his latest music together, and that's what it's all about. So TeamDeeno was excited to get to know Alessandro Del Vecchio.
I'm very happy to be featured on, among such a great group of people. And I will never thank you enough for the support, for being, if in the rock world right now, if you say Curt, they know it's you. we don't need a surname anymore, because we're like, there's like, there are a few names that you go like, I got to do an interview with Curt. I mean, it's you. So it's amazing.
When I first met you at Frontiers last year, you guys had just finished. I was up in my room actually, and I had the windows open, and Deen said, why don't you come down? We're doing our rehearsal at sound check at 5, and at like 5 after 4, I hear these voices, and it was Johnny and Deen. And I said, that sounds like Johnny and Deen. And I listened for a little bit longer, and I said, they're doing sound check now. He told me 5, that liar. And I got on the elevator and went down, and there you guys were, and you finished. And I went up and I said, hi, Alessandro, I'm Curt Andrews. And he said, oh, you said, yeah, you're Deen's friend from Connecticut. I'm like, yes, sir, I am.
So, isn't that cool?
So it was magical. And, Tommy DiCarlo, his set was amazing that night too. Cool album that he and his son came out with. And so anyway, brother, I love you. You're awesome.
Thank you very much. And I'll talk to you very soon.
Thank you very much. Take care, brother.
You're welcome. You too. Ciao. Ciao.